So I may have been wrong in a thing or two in the way that I executed things on the last Palworld video. But the comments that I've been getting about it are so wonderful, it's really funny. So I've been reading over the comments and I've been responding where it almost halfway seemed appropriate, but probably not completely. But I kind of wanted to go over the comments here because it's like the last one, the title was somewhat misleading the way that I leaned, and it feels like some of the comments in here didn't quite pick up on the direction that I was going with it, with the fact that, hey, Palworld isn't half bad. And then, like, some people, I don't know if you misinterpreted it or if you were directed at the people that kept whining about it, but anyway. Well, some of you I know did because I got clarification, but the guy that, so this commenter, just to let you know, the guy that done the polygon comparison admitted that he lied about them and edited them to fit the Pokemon ones. So this is the part where he talked, where I mentioned the scaling. So I can kind of halfway see that some people may have missed it or not watched that far to where they got to the models comparison parts, but then missed the part where I brought up the person admitting to scaling it later on in the video. So that's kind of what happened, is like I talked in circles in a way, and a commenter mentions that like before this comment was made, or about me talking in circles and taking forever. It's kind of the idea that I was trying to go in like a certain direction, but some things just kind of like kept touching on things ahead of time. So I can understand. It felt like I was talking in circles. Let's see. That's criminal. For real. Dude should actually be sued. Came here to say this. Then he doubled down and said that fabricating evidence was justified. For what reason? To show that the proportions were the same or that the sizes were the same. Either way, different models. Taking inspiration and copying different things it's perfectly normal to implement concepts that seemed popular in other works. That's how progress works. We don't reinvent the wheel every time. Look at Minecraft, not reinventing the wheel, but also adding a different spin onto things like Dwarf Fortress and Finaminer and so on. Look at some pals, they are literally the same as Pokemon. How? No, they're not literally the same. So this kind of goes into a whole thing. So you've got a resemblance to the art style, but created from scratch. It can be like the same art style type deal, but you can still make it from scratch. A la some of those Halo clone projects. Unless they literally copy-pasted assets from Pokemon, that's perfectly okay. So basically, if they copied assets from Pokemon, not okay. Otherwise, okay. Let me clear that comma up real quick so that no one misinterprets it. It's not as if Pokemon are the original to begin with. If you happen to create a small creature inspired by the same animal as a Pokemon, it's going to resemble that Pokemon. Again, I touched on that in the last video. It's like Pokemon franchise has covered so many different creature inspirations that it's like it's hard to stomp on new ground where Pokemon hasn't touched. Okay, now compare Pokemon and Dragon Quest, or even Digimon. Are you going to call them the same as well? Edit, you bought Scarlet Violet on day one. No, I still have not bought Scarlet Violet. In fact, I do not have those at all because it's such dog water. It's not even optimized for the hardware, the single set of hardware that it is made to play on, because of how bad a programming Game Freak did. But anyway, let's compare Pokemon to Digimon and the like. Okay, we're gonna do this. Go to Wikipedia, then Digimon. Go to Wikipedia, and then Dragon Quest. Then go to Wikipedia. Okay, so Dragon Quest, starting at the earliest, May 27th, 1986. Okay, Pokemon. I'm going in rough order, so like 1996. Pocket Monsters Green in 96. Okay, so we've got a 96 date where it came out, I believe. Let's double check. That's what it's got here. Original work. Red and Green in 96, okay? Digimon came out the year later. So, franchise was created in 97 as a series of virtual pets. So Digimon, actually, dear commenter, came out after Pokemon, but they were in like similar development windows, so they would have overlapped pretty well. They're like a year after the other. They're right next to each other. So whether Pokemon or Digimon had a longer development cycle, it's still really close. People would almost argue that Digimon copied Pokemon because Digimon came after that. Oh, wait. You're talking this person again. Wait, or this one. This one. Yeah, this one. Bought Scarlet Violet day one. I didn't, but maybe, yeah, this guy did. Anyway, let's see. Why is that? Back your case or admit you're wrong. I agree with the other guy. I bet you pre-ordered Scarlet Violet. If anything, I would say they ripped designs from Pokemon Clover. You do realize the guy who made those 3D sculptures admitted he scaled the Palworld one down to look like the Pokemon that looked nothing alike without the scale. Yes, I get that. I looked at the tweet where the guy himself admitted to it, and then other people talked about it too. That's still a copy. If you mean to say yes, he did admit to scaling down the PAL to make it look like the Pokemon, you are demented. So he did admit he copied it. What? Think I have to lower my education. So again, it comes down to when you're pulling an asset. I'm going to go into it later. Maybe, no, it's not. It's called falsifying evidence, which is a crime in most states. We're not in a court proceeding, so it's somewhat irrelevant, but still relevant. Could be seen as defamation at best. Falsifying evidence would be if he used those modified models in court as evidence. Again, that's the point. I mean, he falsified his own evidence, yes, definitely defamation, and should be sued for it. Funny thing is, Palworld has both examples. Vixen inspiration, Cremus copy. Loop Moon inspiration, Incineram copy. I also like Palworld, but please accept the fact Palworld copied monster designs. It didn't copy them. Some pals resemble popular Pokemon on purpose to appeal to Pokemon fans. They know their target audience, but they're still distinct, so calling them copies is inaccurate. For sure, took inspiration from the same places. Most of the things people say are copied just show a lack of culture. For example, Pyrin and Rapidash, or Grintail and Meowth, coming respectively from anything, and Alice in Wonderland. Some, like Cremus, are very close for sure. There's no way Cremus wasn't made with Eevee in mind. At the end of the day, most pals in Pokemon are just real-life animals mixed with an element. While making this kind of creatures, you would have to actively look at Pokemon and not a lookalike. So yeah. And then here I am, again, responding to, like, I'm well aware of that whole copy thing. In fact, I touch on it later in the video. Let's zoom in. Make it easier for everyone to read, you know? Look up how Pokemon copied Dragon Quest or early Digimon or Monster Rancher. I think you guys might, it's, again, last, minute of the video. Go check it out. Palworld is what we need for today's time. Nintendo should know what potential they are wasting. Nope, wrong, the end. I would like elaboration on this. Pokemon doesn't own what a white sheep or blue penguin look like, obviously. Similar art style. I'm not feeling threatened by anything, by the way. I just wanted to know what this guy meant by who was wrong and what was up. Again, and then we go into the whole clickbaiting thing. Palworld is what we wanted the last 2 to 3 Pokemons to be. I like the turn-based Pokemon fights, but the content is pathetic lately. You want guns in Minecraft. You can freely move through the world, see the creatures, capture them, and capture humans. And they're not... So modern Pokemon games have a habit of holding your hand. He points... They're not holding your hand at every step, etc. Palworld literally drops you in. Is it possible there's going to be a tutorial later on? Yes. But right now it's not holding your hand. It's in early access. A number of games that have been in early access or in development for a long time didn't have a tutorial initially. Look at Dwarf Fortress when it came to Steam. It didn't have a tutorial before coming to Steam. Then you got the graphical thing and everything to appeal to the more normie side of things. And it's got a tutorial in it to also help those people get used to the clunky UI that it still has many, many artifacts from the original Dwarf Fortress. Action's lacking. The guns is a part I actually don't like very much. At least you're not that kind of person, but Pokemon already has one. To me, my response has always been Palworld ceiling, no shit. Same art style, have literal Pokeballs. Literal Pokeballs! Different element types for pals. Combine the fact that it has much small team that made it. I don't think it's very hard to conclude they modified some Pokemon assets, along with taking inspiration from others. I don't care because quality of the Pokemon games, and it creates competition and incentive to make better games from Game Freak. Studio can outperform best-selling franchises, very telling. So if you notice, Palworld performed really, really well, but it's on Steam and in Xbox Game Pass as well. So that's kind of two contributing factors to it performing so well, is it's not limited to just Nintendo platforms, it's vastly widespread. So yeah, Pokemon has become a cash flow button at this point. Press button, cash come out. Hope Palworld makes them reconsider their approach or drops their sales significantly to where they're forced to change. Imagine making a 24-minute video to say some brain-dead opinions. Who would do that for a click? Who? Stay angry. Yeah, okay. You clickbaited, spent 22 out of the 24 minutes to just say random stuff that had nothing to do with Palworld or Pokemon debate. Maybe I was kind of going over tweets and like probably trying to weave stuff in. Bio tampered with the evidence under false pretenses. I'm not a lawyer. I've seen Judge Judy enough times to know that the judge will laugh in their face and toss the case out immediately for what Bio did. That's enough for me to call all the claims completely fake. Yes. If you tamper with the evidence, and even like you look at some cases where they used AI to upscale things, court proceedings will not allow that because upscaling things, it requires an algorithm and you can't always tell what the algorithm is doing or whether it's accurate or not. But they still, for whatever reason, had it there to where you could see it. They didn't use... Okay, I didn't cover the AI art piece for like too long, but it was mentioned. Of course, he's greedy. Many of the models were first shown before AI art became a thing. So one big difference between Palworld and Pokemon. Palworld is fun, Pokemon is not. Yes. But you're not a kid. I enjoy both Pokemon and Palworld. I even admit that Pokemon has been quite lazy about what it could have been. Yes, this is it. There are some things that you'll see in like ROM hacks that are taken from modern Pokemon games, but not a lot of things. This is for kids, not for adults. Because it's for kids, okay, whatever you say. Play games that have guns if you don't want to play a kid's game. Pokemon is meant to be for all ages, while marketed towards kids. Get your facts straight. Pokemon, Game Freak and Nintendo know that a large amount of their players are people that played it years ago, like almost 30 years ago, so they know their audience is older because of the nostalgia factor. Ain't Nintendo copied Dragon Quest also? Me, last minute of the video. Now someone made a better inspired by Pokemon version, they should suck it up. I don't remember Dragon Quest when Nintendo did what Palworld did. Better yet, they should take down notes, because they've been too complacent that they lack creativity, that they just release the same thing with different titles. You literally saw that one meme. Dragon Quest definitely whined about it, though, but you cannot say anybody based on this. Nintendo ain't whining, though. It's the fans that are whining. Yes, which is one thing. Yeah, angry fan emails. See, and then here's where I'm corrected. They're actually investigating PokeZoo, not Palworld, which is cool. So, I want Palworld. I don't have an Xbox and don't know how to get it. Oh, okay. Yep. I can skip that one. That one, someone wanting to get Palworld and then don't have an Xbox, but PC. So, yes, Palworld is on Steam. Just install Steam, buy it there if you want to play it, and then enjoy. Pokemon does not have the crafting. The end. Person that posted that made up those wireframes. He admitted to it, saying it was a joke. Then it created a whole drama. Now I've got attention, and here we are. This was proven to be false. The scale, the model to match. Just like car in GTA. Yes. They 100% took inspiration from Pokemon. They never said they didn't. Just because they altered some assets does not mean the game entirely copied Pokemon. Misleading title, 100%. Misleading title because it's a dumb argument. And I hope I showed that ridiculousness in the video itself. I mean, I have a love for Pokemon. I disliked your video because I thought it was unnecessary and had a misleading title, but sure, I mean, you really mega-minded us. Okay, here's the thing that really kind of got me. Your delivery is very lacking if you did this to be ironic. Also, the video got super boring to even pay attention to on it. You took too long to go in circles, work on your script, make a shorter video. This video will not be shorter, but thanks for the comment. I took that into heavy consideration. And yeah, yes, I agree. You yapped on about random stuff for 24 minutes. You clickbaited your video and you're genuinely not a good guy. When it comes to being trustworthy, I'm not surprised your video has more dislikes than likes. He has the dislike plugin. So South Park rips off Simpsons. That's about the sum of Palworld ripping off Pokemon. Can't help the fact Pokemon has done almost everything, and anything that's a monster collector will be compared to Pokemon. If it's a monster collector, it's going to be a Pokemon. Fact of the matter is, Palworld, it's greater than Pokemon. I used to dream of having this kind of fun catching Pokemon with my friends in a semi-open world game, but instead Nintendo grew complacent and stubborn, making their greatest successes their greatest failures. The stubbornness of only making their games available on Switch and other Nintendo consoles only means that 50% of the 3-year period the developers have to make the new Pokemon games that spent optimizing the game so much that they look terrible just to run 24 FPS on terrible console. So their own pride is their biggest downfall. Pokemon made my childhood could have made a game that could stay with us for a long time, but no longer being really haven't been buying any of the Pokemon franchise because every game is let down. Finally, thank you, Palworld, and screw Pokemon. Okay, so the optimizing for the hardware, let me go back to that. So they did not spend time optimizing it too well for the Switch. If you look at some of the quirks that other people have noticed about like the Switch games, like more particularly, was it Sword and Shield, or it might have been Scarlet and Violet? It renders a whole like sun-sized orb of water, and that's why the game runs slow for much of it. So they didn't optimize it too well, and you're looking at the amount of time that they could have used instances of models versus using copies of the models. So you're filling your VRAM up with a lot of like needless models because you don't know how to program very well, which is sad. But saying it's optimized for the hardware? Debatable. Pokemon copied games like Dragon Quest. Palworld copied Pokemon. Here's why. No, Sherlock gets Pokemon right more than Game Freak does. Palworld was copied like all MMOs copied WoW. MMOs before WoW copied EverQuest, much like WoW, Apex Legends, blah, blah, blah. Nintendo does not own the rights to cute, rounded objects. Nintendo does not own the rights to creatures stored in spherical objects. I do not make those arguments. So this is where I start to think that, like, the framing of the title added to the framing of the way people saw the presentation of it. And so I could have been clearer, just like a comment earlier and a few comments earlier. Been more clear on my framing in the video itself of what was going on and kept focused on Palworld more. Similar ears or facial traits is simply not the case. The more true conclusion is that Nintendo's upset that a similar game has outshined their own game. Nintendo's not really upset about Palworld, it seems. It's the fans that are upset about Palworld. But anyway. It's physically impossible for Nintendo to sue Pocket Pair. Hasn't used any assets from Pokemon, only have copyright claims on the name and the few Pokemon. Mainly PvP uses a lot of stuff Pokemon would never use. Nintendo's have grounds to stand on when it comes to suing since Pocket Pair haven't used any of their assets. Pocket Pair could simply argue in court that their pals are based on real-world creatures, which would just shut down the whole lawsuit and Pocket Pair would win. Pocket Pair and Nintendo are both Japanese companies. If Nintendo had grounds to sue Pocket Pair, it would have done so already based on a lot of stuff. People, the art style is the same and a few Palmon look similar. Okay, pals, not Palmon, but anyway, similar to Pokemon, but most of them are based on the same animals. So really not copying, much more like art and gameplay than Pokemon. Hard Pokemon fans are coping since Scarlet was pure shit compared to this. Also, if they reuse steel assets, the game would have already been taken down just like blah blah blah. Nintendo's pure evil with its lawsuits. I think they even took down a Roblox game once. At least a game with Minecraft with guns seems to put it as some indie game not being bought by Mojang as its own property. No, Palworld should do the same. Keep it as your own. Palworld is original, simple as that. Nothing less, just like Digimon, Pokemon, now Palworld, its own thing. People are complaining just big babies like being used as pay pigs from Nintendo. Yes, Nintendo pay pigs are the ones squealing, okay? Is it even a big deal to say they copied the assets of a game? From a legal standpoint, maybe I should get my refund now. It's a shame. It's a great game. Better not be lying about it. So this person apparently returned their game and it's all my fault. Anyway. In development for more years, Nintendo did nothing about it, immediately took down Pokemon mod for Palworld, yet they haven't touched Palworld in years. So it's safe. Bought it for $50.4 during discount, now it's $72 at full price. Heartbroken. Never mind, you're talking about the mod. Well, sorry. Bait, one word, Digimon. Okay, but I don't care. Stay mad just because some nobody devs made a better Pokemon game than the whole Pokemon Company franchise. Again, here's where I think the phrasing is changing things, but anyway, wrong. Here it is. Here's a dislike. Thank you, kind commenter. Palworld is dope. Get over it. Oh, not you specifically. In general, the catsup and haterade that gotta stop it and envy. Another delusional Nintendo Pokemon fan. How original. You didn't watch the video. How original. And you commented. Thank you for the interaction, by the way. Pokemon games are hot garbage compared to Palworld. Same, only old Okay, and then here's where I say pretty much play only, like, nothing past Gen 3. And ROM hacks from that and earlier. Same, only old Pokemon games. Mega Evolutions and that maxing is cringe in my opinion. But yeah, that's the whole comments section. You guys are wonderful. I talked in circles. That was horrible of me. Thought there was another one here. There was another comment here, and I don't know where it went to. I'm going to find it real quick. Give me a second. Okay, here's another interesting. Huffing high-grade copium, my guy. The biggest franchise on this planet got the last decade of games room because of one guy, according to. I mean, it's a small multi-billion-dollar company. No way they can afford good developers or sort of quality control. Why would Nintendo care about that since they know Pokemon fans buy whatever lazy, rehashed slop they release? Since they know their fans are literal man-children who lack critical thought and just want to consume product. Nintendo sisters have it rough coping with reality indeed. Anyway, I'm trying to find the one. Let me go to it. Thank you, Fire Dragon, for being so good. Let me pause again. Can't find it. Might have been deleted or something, but I didn't delete it, like fair commenter. So this dude commented that he had like 10 plus years experience and talked about how it would be much harder to rip an asset, edit it, and change it in his 10 years. It's just easier to go from scratch. And someone on Twitter that I kind of like touched on his tweet in the video is that he could see that, oh, they'd copied the models. I'm pretty sure I went through the process of how you would go from copying a model from Pokemon to make it work to change it to look like it is in Palworld. And you have to modify your Switch. You have to either extract a ROM or extract the assets on the Switch itself, copy those assets over. You have to make sure that they're converted, so whether it's like done on the Switch in the extraction or later on when you're extracting the ROM on your computer itself, you have to extract the models that way. Make sure that you have the rigging in there as well so that you know how it's supposed to be rigged. And then you've got to import it into your favorite 3D modeling program, which is likely Blender in this case, or even Unreal, and make sure that it's compatible for Unreal and things like that. And then you've got to redo the model, you've got to recolor it, you've got to redo the vertices and things like that, you've got to retexture it, and then finally, you've got to re-rig it. Well, we already said re-rigging, but you've got to re-rig it after you've changed the model so that it fits the new model that you've turned it into. Which this guy is like, again, is like, it's easier in my 10 plus years of experience to go from new rather than to rip a model and change it. If you look at the guy that was comparing, that is mentioned, Bio, he had models from Pokemon games. How did he get those models? There was some like Nintendo terms of service broken somewhere to get those models. So who was the one that really did the crime? But yeah, that's the last thing. I was totally wrong for the way I did the presentation of it. I probably could have kept it shorter, but thanks for your comments. If you enjoyed the video, then like, comment, subscribe, feed the algorithm, boost the video up, share this video with your friends. If you found it informative or you just want to chat, I've got plenty of places in the description, Discord, Guilded, and what have you. Check those out, and I will see you guys in the next one.